Hi everyone. I'm Sulakshana Viswa, together with my team members, Jacinta, Elisha, Bhuvaneshwari, and Nurul Atika. So today we are here to present our assignment on the grammatical errors. So for the introduction, I would like to present my part. Before that, we have introduction, and then the next is common grammatical error based on grammar items, and then the common grammatical error for listening, speaking, reading, and writing skills with the example, and why students are having difficulties with grammar in English language. And the teaching methods, why are the teaching methods suitable to implement in classroom by each and every one of us, and finally the conclusion. So for the introduction, I would like to start. English is the most spoken language in the world. It is used to relate people across countries in many parts of life, such as social, science, technology, economy, and education. English has become the most recommended language to be learned in every country. So our study today is aimed on reveal the types of grammatical errors made by the students in speaking English language. So when speaking, students generally did not realize and understand the classification of errors, and also there is where the students probably make their mistakes. So it is deemed necessary to identify and classify and also describe the various grammatical errors as an attempt to build the awareness of using structured and standardized English rules. So after analyzing, the findings shows that the most common errors in students' grammar is misuse or misplacing of verbs, nouns, and then the conjunctions, pronouns, prepositions, and also parts of speech. So based on the error category, student most common error is omission, followed by the overgeneralizations, overregulations, and misordering, completed by other errors such as carelessness. So the causes of grammatical errors were the internal factors ensuring limited linguistic resources and also the motivation deficiency. So grammar and punctuation are essential in English language, and gaining confidence in how to avoid grammatical errors is a valuable part of your learning journey. So that's all for the introduction, and would like to pass to the next member.
So for the common grammatical errors for listening, speaking, reading, and writing skills, a grammatical error is a word used in prospective grammar to identify an incorrect, uncommon, or difficult usage, such as a misplaced adjective or an incorrect verb tense. It's also known as a use error. So compare and contrast grammatical error with correctness. It's also known as an error, a grammatical mistake or incorrect grammar. Factual errors, logical misspellings, typographical errors, and poor punctuation are normally separate from grammatical errors. So for example, when students talk, they prefer to say girl tall instead of tall girl, boy thin instead of thin boy, and so on. So when speaking in English, this pattern is carried over, resulting in grammatical issues. So another issues in the English is pronouns are deleted, or although in other languages, pronouns are also required in relative clauses, resulting in grammatical errors such as "Where is the book that I lent to you last week?" There are plenty of issues, including genitive constructions in defined articles which don't exist in other languages, leading our students to ignore them while writing in English, sentence structure, word order, and a slew of others. Reading is one of the simplest, most effective, and pleasurable ways to enhance a student's grammar and punctuation. When students read, they must pay attention to grammar standards at all times. So the most common grammatical fault will be in the placement of commas by their authors. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, hi, I'm Atika, and now I'm going to present my part, which is common grammatical errors based on grammar item. Okay, as we all know, learning a second language entails developing abilities in listening, speaking, reading, and writing. These all four abilities enable the learner to perceive, generate, and apply language effectively in interpersonal communication. Okay, so the most common errors among the students usually include noun ending errors, which include plural and possessive ending incorrect. Okay, so all verb tense or form errors, including relevant subject, verb, agreement errors, as well as wrong words, which includes all specific lexical errors in word choice of word form, including preposition and pronoun errors. And last, sentence structure, which includes error in sentence clause boundaries, word order, omitted words and phrases, and other sentences construction. Okay, so for the first grammar item is verb tense errors. Verb tense mistake errors when the incorrect verb tense is used. They are one of the most prevalent grammatical errors. The verb tense tells the reader if the action is taking place in the past, present, or future. It must be constant in verb tense unless there is a cause to move to a different tense. So I'm going to explain one of the example. Okay, the first example is I walked to the store and I bought milk. So walk is a present tense verb. Bought is a past tense verb. Bought should be buy or walk should be walk, since these two events occur at the same time. So the second grammar item is a run-on sentence is one in which two or more separate clauses. It means sentences that may stand alone are wrongly connected together. The comma splice is a type of run-on phrase. When a comma separates two independent clauses, I will explain you one of the example. So the example is, I went to the store, I got milk and cookies. Both I went to the store and I got milk and cookies are independent clauses. To avoid a run-on sentence, either link the two with a semicolon. I went to the store, I got a milk and cookies, or break them into two separate sentences. So the last grammar item is prepositional phrase is one that begins with a preposition. They are essential to write English. In fact, to write English is a propositional phrase in and of itself. So they are typically employed to offer context as mentioned above or to provide more information. Okay, so for example, the sentences is with malice toward none, toward future dietary decision beyond any desire for alternate meals, I made a sandwich. So this is deliberately silly. We might say hyperbolic. Example of the real problem in writing using too many prepositional phrases weak down your writing without adding anything important. So grammatical error come in many forms and can easily confuse and obscure meaning. Some common errors are with preposition, most importantly, subject verb agreement tenses, tense common errors with preposition. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me read again. Let me explain again. Grammatical errors come in many forms and can easily confuse and obscure meaning. So some common errors are with preposition. Most importantly, subject verb agreement, tenses, punctuation, sorry, punctuation, spelling, and other part of speech. So basically, grammatical correctness in spoken language differs from that in writing language. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, now I will explain about why students are having difficulty with grammar and English, with grammar English language. So the first one will be learning English language will be effective if the students understand the grammar well. Grammar is known as essential in learning. English still, many students do have difficulty with the grammar to understand it. Grammar is an important element that need to be learned, especially when it comes to language process. Grammar is an important part for both spoken and written in English language. So from the article that has been chosen to analyze why students having difficulty with grammar in English language, the first article tells the students often get confused with when they want to make sentence grammatically. It has been told in the article that learning English involves the grammar which has been taught for the students, which will not always be easy. Usually, grammar is an essential part of language that cannot be understood easily. This situation will make students to face difficulty in grammar. So it also mentioned that students do have difficulty with grammar in English language because the term of English, which does not seem to have fixed and clear definition, it has been mentioned that grammar is complex system in which all parts of grammar are mutually defining, where there is no simple linear path in the terms of another. So in another, it is the grammatical correctness which described as an analyzing and explaining it in sentences, while the latter focuses Dean and Veda. The latter focuses focuses Dean and the attempt of making the students understand how to use the language in real context. Okay, I'll pass to my partner.
Okay, good evening, Miss. Okay, my name is Alicia. I'll be explaining another part of why students having difficulties with grammar in English language. Okay, in this situation, we can see that students don't have a proper insight knowledge of what they should do when write, what they should do when write that fail on expressing their idea in written production. So this explains that when students have a low insight of knowledge of the grammar and the low understanding of grammar, it will cause them to have a poor written work and also speaking, the way they speak to others. So this will cause difficulties for the students to have a proper grammar. So when students have a proper knowledge of grammar and the rules, then they will have a confident to speak when they are given a task and when they are given a written work to do. So this is also caused by low understanding of grammar for the students. So for the next point, another reason that students are having difficulty to consider having difficulties in grammar is they fail to consider, or they really feel hard to consider grammar as a rule. It's basically there are three areas of teaching grammar, which is grammar as rule, grammar as form, and grammar as resources. So in this three situation, some of the students fail to consider it as a rule. And in this article, it is also mentioned that difficulties in understanding grammar is caused by the student's background as well. Some of teaching techniques and also the students' environment that they have learned the grammar also can be caused by the difficulties for the students to understand the grammar that is being taught. So, and also the reason that students having difficulty with grammar in English is the interference of errors that occurs as a result of the use elements from one language while speaking another. This is caused error that caused by another tongue or another language, or it is called the intralingual. So it is also mentioned that the error correction to the students need to be corrected even when communication goals are intended. So when students communicate without a proper grammar, teachers should correct the error at the spot on that time so that the student will not repeat again the mistake and they will learn the proper grammar. Either it be spoken or written language, the authentic texts that are not produced artificially for the purpose of the language also is the cause of students having difficulty in grammar. And students may have difficulties in improving the accuracy of their grammatical language within total communication activities, which lack of sufficient focus for developing students' grammatical knowledge. Usually, grammar is an essential part of the language that cannot be understood easily. I will be passing the next slide to my teammate to explain. Okay, this is the teaching method that should be implemented in classroom. In my opinion, English language plays an important role in education and developing nations such as Malaysia. The importance of English language as a global language, a major motivating factor in learning and use of this language in Malaysia. So meanwhile, the students in Malaysia still did not have enough master the English language from their learning institute with a proper method. So in students in Malaysia are more to the traditional way of teaching, which students are only learning through the full control of teacher. Because of this situation, many students are unable to use the proper grammar while speaking and writing as well. I will pass the next slide to my teammate to explain their point of view. Final point of view. In my point of view, the best teaching method that the teacher can use is to improve the students' grammar is the PPP model, presentation, practice, and production. In this model, students will have the beginning control from teacher, and they will have the freedom to do their work, their activities, and feel free to speak what is lacking in them. So mostly this PPP model is the best teaching method for Malaysian students to improve on grammar that will take them through the proper learning stage and knowledge to learn the grammar. So I will pass the slide to my next teammate to explain their point of view.
Unmute.
Sorry. So I
Why?
choose student-centered teaching methods because it is suitable to implement it in the classroom, as teachers need to know the interests of the students in learning. Besides that, allowing students to participate in decision-making, believing in their ability to lead, and remembering how it feels to learn are always that teachers can promote student-centered learning. So students are involved in the development, implementation, and assessment of student-centered classroom. Involving students in this decision will put greater pressure on them, which can be beneficial. So what students learn in that, they may choose the topics that they want to focus on, allowing allow the content that teaches skills and concepts to be driven by their interests. Some students may choose to analyze advertisement, product reviews, or social problem opinions when learning how to write effectively. The greatest method is to simply ask students what they want to learn about. Begin with brainstorming what they enjoy doing, and then talk about how to relate their interest to the skills and concepts. Give students the opportunity to lead activities even if they don't have all the necessary content knowledge. Students are intelligent learners who know how to get the most out of their education. Student-centered learning is one of the great ways to make the students learn more effectively, rather than the teacher give them everything and they don't really focusing, which will end up difficult for them to score in the examination too. I will pass to my another member. Thank you.
Okay, so this is my opinion. As a teacher, I would like to apply the inductive and deductive approaches because they are the most two frequent strategies for teaching English grammar. Okay, so for the first one, inductive. The inductive teaching technique in English education is a type of discovery learning that is centered on the learner. As instructor, for example, may utilize and then or demonstrate a few examples of a grammatical issue in English, and then ask students what they see in many circumstances. The grammatical point can be presented gradually by engaging the student in focused dialogue. Okay, so for my opinion, as a teacher, I would like to apply the inductive and deductive approaches because they are the two most frequent strategies for teaching English grammar. So the first one is inductive. The inductive teaching technique in English education is a type of discovery learning that is centered on the learner. An instructor, for example, may utilize or demonstrate a few examples of a grammatical issue in English and then ask students what they see. So by then, the grammatical point can be presented gradually by engaging the student in a focused dialogue. So the second one is deductive method. So a deductive method is more teacher-centered learning in which students are clearly taught and assessed on the point of English grammar. Following the introduction and explanation of the grammar, students frequently perform grammar tasks to become more with the pattern. So this is an approach that has been widely employed in English school. Okay, so when it comes to teaching English grammar, there are significant between the inductive and deductive approaches. Inductive reasoning is more efficient in the long term, although deductive reason takes less time. A lot is depend on the teacher and the student. I will pass to my groupmate.
Okay, next as a teacher, I would say grammar translation method will be the suitable one to implement in the classroom for Malaysian students to improve their grammar, because it is useful for there are lots of advantages in the grammar translation method, because like they will use the example to teach the grammar, and then it is useful to use in classroom with pupils of variety intelligence levels, both like highly and not so brilliant also can use. Both of them can use. When taught in this manner, the students can quickly understand the concept, get the concept. So this method is extremely beneficial to both average and below average kids. The strategy is beneficial in classes with big number of pupils, because the teacher can't simply go and teach one by one. So when the teacher gives the example and teach the grammar, then it will be easier for the students to understand. The last one will be the focus on understanding. Literary works creates a climate in which reading and writing skill are effectively developed. Thank you. I will pass to my partner.
Okay, so based on my opinion, teaching methods are the broader techniques used to help the students achieve learning outcomes. So while activities are the different ways of implementing these methods, teaching methods help students master the content of the course and also learn how to apply the content in particular contexts. So instructors should, as a teacher, we should identify which teaching method will properly support a particular learning outcome. So it is effective. Its effectiveness depends on this alignment, and to make the most appropriate choice, an instructor should consider learning outcomes, students' needs, and on the learning environment. So those teaching methods should be based on the students' needs and also the learning environment. Yes, that's all from me. So for the conclusion, I would like to pass to Jess. Sorry, Alicia, I think.
Okay. Okay. For the conclusion of this particular topic and assignment, there may be many ways of teaching grammar for the students, but it would not be proper to adopt without looking at the possible difficulties that the students are facing. Students tend to make grammatical mistakes in their writing, which students need more writing practice that should decrease their mistakes for a better learning of English in grammar. The teacher should have a good techniques and a good preparation for teaching methods that follow the proper preparation, should be very versatile for teachers also as well, and to create a good classroom atmosphere and avoid the students from getting bored. So that's all from us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.